Today we're going to look at earnings plays on the Option Circle platform. So to do that, we're going to go to the Earnings Plays tab, simply click on it, and it's going to populate all of these heat maps. Just like our most active options or our most unusual options, we have heat maps for our earnings plays so that we can easily see what's coming up. Now we can break it down by sectors, and then we can also group it by all stocks greater than 1, 3, 5, or by certain indices. For this, let's just take the NASDAQ. Everybody loves playing options on NASDAQ stocks. So as you can see here, we also have the option to filter by total option volume change based on a percentage, or option open interest change based on a percentage. You can also go into a list view if you like, and then you'll have the 52-week range, option volume, put call volume ratio, sentiment, IV, and IV change as well for all those tickers. If you want to look at the fourth week, simply click on the arrow and that'll bring you over there. And that week, the big one, NVIDIA. Let's go back though to next week. Let's see if we can find something that we'd want to play. We can look at a daily value here. If you click on the week of October 28th, this will now bring up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. To get over to Thursday and Friday, simply click on that arrow. For purposes, let's take a look at AMD. Now, this is our earnings analysis page. So you have some general data up here. So you'll have volume, open interest percentage, call volume ratio, and then sector price, and then an overview of the company. But down here is what is really interesting. You have seasonal kind of data on this, right? It's just price history data going into earnings and post earnings. So pre and post earnings moves. And we break that down for you on a multiple scale. So you can do it on 1, 3, 7, 14, or 21 days. When looking at this data, obviously AMD's doesn't look really good based on a 7-day move. Honestly, it looks like a great company to probably sell premium around earnings on, or maybe even kind of fade the pre or post earnings move, immediate move. So pre-earnings into it, buying some puts or buying some puts immediately following earnings, because it looks like it gets a bump and then fades off. But let's look at 21 days, since not everybody wants to trade overnight or in 1 week's time frame. Sometimes you want to take a little bit longer period look, and you can see here NVIDIA still has this big fade into earnings. On average over the last year, it's been by $35.15, about 21%. And then post earnings, though, 21 days later, it is up almost $30 by about 20% there. And it does show you that it does have that little bit of a lull for that 7-day period. So your best option to buy calls is typically after that. And you can kind of decipher that through these charts here. You also, like I said, will have that put call volume ratio, sentiment, IV change right over here as well. And it's got the pre-percentage and post-percentage moves for you too. Now, if you want to look at a few other things, maybe somebody's commented on it, you would have that here in this tab in conversations. It doesn't look like anybody has a comment on AMD, but I did see like a couple quarters back, somebody for Amazon. We are in beta mode, so there isn't a lot of comments yet populating. Right here, we have recent trades through all of our public bots. As you can see, there's 5 trades laid out here recently, and it looks like some nice winners. We have 542% winner, 454% winner, 89%, 30%, and then 2%. So some really nice trades there on AMD in some of our public bots. If we want to look at sweeps and blocks, these are where you can look for aggressive traders, that are large money, potentially playing something for earnings. So one way to look at this is you can look, and if you want, you can just look at sweeps, type in sweep. If you want to just see the call side or the put side, simply type that up there. If you want sentiment, simply type bullish, bearish, neutral, and you can filter this down if you want, as much as you want throughout all of these. A lot of times people just want to know what it looks like when people are playing on the ask side, because they're the most aggressive traders. They're not working their orders. They're just trying to sweep it up or get a block of contracts for an event. So we can see here we have the expirations. So the 1025s don't do us really any good. Really, we need 11 ones here. So let's just look at if we can filter some of these out. All right. So filtered them out. And we'll scroll over to the next page here. And we're starting to see some decent sized orders here. You have one for 58,000. It was a sweep, and that was at 237 today. On the call side, bullish 157 and a half. So just slightly out of the money here. Somebody's positioning pretty aggressively into earnings there. Nothing extraordinary that has popped out, at least on this time frame. But not all trades are going to have one. There we do. We have 785,000 in premium. They're using the 165 strike for the 11-1 expiration. It was a block trade that went through just before the close there with a spot at 156.40. That's a big trade. That is definitely somebody positioning for earnings with almost, 200,000 shy of $1 million. So they're making a pretty big bet there. Now, if you just want to unfilter, all you have to do is simply delete as well. And now you'll have all the trades back up. You can also look at it from an aggregate view as well. And then this will show you the date and give you the aggregate details on this. And you can scroll down. Now, there is a couple more pages here in your earnings play. Here we have our trend chart. So a lot of people probably aren't as familiar with this. This blue line up here is your volatility. And as you can see, volatility of actual price action typically falls actually as it comes into earnings. We do see a compression of vol as we approach that event a lot of the times. So that is not anything crazy there. Certain stocks will exhibit different behaviors. Sometimes you'll see vol expansion, but most of the time you're going to see vol kind of contract on a historical basis. So on a price basis, it'll start contracting usually into earnings because they expect a big move coming out of earnings, right? Whether it's to the upside or the downside. That doesn't mean IV, which is implied volatility, is contracting. This is simply historical and price movement. IV is likely expanding into the earnings because they're expecting that big move. So the green bars and the red bars are just simple bullish calls, bearish puts by the data that we can disseminate from. And then open interest is this dashed blue line. So you can see some open interest started kind of upticking here in October. And that's because we kind of had a different October where we didn't really see a sell-off, and we actually saw a decent move in some equities. So some people got pretty bullish in AMD, it looks like, by buying some calls there in early October. And then it's kind of tailed off now, and now it's going to reemerge right into earnings. If you want to come down here, we have an option volume graph, so you can just see what expirations have the most contracts. So this options expiration Friday was the 25th, had the most, but we're going to see this volume expand out into next week now, coming next week. So option volume for the top 5 expirations usually is going to be that same week, especially when you're looking at a stock like AMD. That's not always going to be the case if you're playing like a lesser known name, but AMD is a name that a lot of people like to day trade. So you'll usually see that in any of the bigger names. And then we can also filter this to today, last day, last 2 days, last 5 days if we'd like. The next tab is our technical chart and analysis tab here. It kind of gives you some, simple charting features here. Nothing too big. It's a trading view widget. But what's really unique about it is you have this buy and sell signals down below. So that gives you everything right there. Our buy and sell signals on the 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, hourly, daily, and weekly time frames. So you can see here, 5 and 10 minutes is pretty bearish. That's because we kind of sold off into the market close. But 15, 30 were still bullish. Hourly was neutral, and then the daily and the weekly are bullish. Now, if you want to look at moving average levels, we have that as well. So price is below the 20-day moving average over 5 periods. So that is a signal on the bear side, but we still have price crossed over the 7, the 50, the 100. So it does look like you got some bullish signals here ahead of it. And then we also highlight things that are maybe hitting in one of our scans. So consecutive winners for 3 periods. It's making a little bit of a move here now off of a low, as you can see. So kind of gives you some insights into it that are pretty quick, easy. You don't even have to think about it. You can just go down and take a look. And a lot of other stocks will have multiple signals there. And then in the final page, we have our stock market news. So you can see here, we'll have this disseminated by positive, negative, neutral on all the stock market news that comes into the site. And that's our earnings site. So if you do have any other questions, definitely reach out to us here at Option Circle, and we'll gladly walk you through it. I think there's a bunch of unique features, and you can easily look at how earnings are shaping up for the next week. You can see where the volume's coming in, where the open interest is changing based on a percentage basis, and that can give you some valuable insights onto how people are positioning for those events, especially when you combine it with the sweeps and blocks that you might be seeing out there. So reach out to an Option Circle team member, and we'll gladly walk you through this if you have any questions. Have a great day, everyone.